I loved it from start to finish.
This was horrible. Like, horrible.
And it was an awful movie, so I gotta give it the quick one.
You hated it? You hated it?
Oh, no, not a movie for me.
I've learned early on Netflix and Phil not to ever say that. Yeah, I try to start low.
We didn't learn that early on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Planet Earth. I'm Travis Snail.
Welcome, Emily.
It's an Independence Day reference.
What?
I'm Dylan Musk. I'm the independent Taylor.
Wow.
I'm the ever-optimistic Jessica.
And wow, you're gonna need it for today, because what we're watching, if you haven't guessed, we're watching Independence Day Resurgence. Taylor, you want to start this, because you're the only person I allow on that's seen these movies before, because one, all these bad movies we've watched, somehow you've seen them all, and two, in all of the almost 2 years we've been reviewing movies, you've not failed anything. Like, not even, like, just general movies. You haven't given anything. I think, like, the lowest score you've given was a 7. That was for Assassin's Creed, which is actually super weird. But, like, other than that, you're usually, like, in the A+ system. So start positive. What did you like about this movie? How did you feel with the first one? And then
The first one, I used to turn on my VHS player, and then I would pop in that Go VHS for Independence Day.
Go VHS?
That good old
Oh.
VHS. And, I love that movie. It was awesome. The action, Will Smith. Can't go wrong with Will Smith. So
He's not in this,
Did you
though.
say you're going to turn on your VHS?
No, I did for the first one.
It's called a VCR.
VHS machine?
Oh, no.
It's
That's
a
a rant.
VCR.
Repeat to be.
Well, yeah, I love the first one. So I always would look online, like I do sometimes, like, oh, Independence
Like I do.
Every day you wake up in the morning,
Look
get your
online.
coffee.
Independence Day 2, is there hope? And
Because this movie was in development hell for a long time.
Very
like
long
the talks of the started like in 2005, so it took a while for this actually to
Yeah.
get made.
when I first saw like the first teaser images of the ships, I'm like, oh, this is actually happening. I'm so excited for this movie. And when they dropped the trailer, I'm even more excited because it's a great movie. And then I watched it in theaters because how could I not? And I was not disappointed.
And you bought it on Blu-ray too. Remember?
You bought this on Blu-ray?
Yeah, he was telling us one episode.
For what, $50?
It was actually on DVD.
Oh wow!
He didn't want to
It was
switch to
a
the Blu-ray.
Black Friday special at Walmart.
Oh, cool.
Can you get like the collector's edition at least?
Oh, yeah.
No.
No?
Full-size Jeff Goldblum.
Jessica, do you have
Came
any
with Jeff Goldblum.
do you have any experience with the first one? And what are your expectations going into
See,
this
I
one?
have not seen the first one,
Mm.
so I'm going into this completely blind. Don't know what to expect. I'm obviously expecting something bad because, it's Netflix
It's on.
and fail.
It's a 1-star. Yeah, we're here.
Oh, it's
We're
a
here.
1-star?
It's a 1-star.
Oh,
Yeah.
On my Netflix, I think it's a 3-star.
Oh, wow.
So, that's why I'm optimistic. Maybe it won't be terrible in my opinion.
Has a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Not great.
I'll be...
Average rating of 4.3 out of 10. And then by audience...
That's not that bad.
No, but audience
That's
score...
not a pass.
Audience score 31%, same as Chris, but average rating 2.7. So the critics liked it more than the audience, which is kind of rare sometimes. So that's
I'll be
not a good
honest,
sign
when
going
I'm
in.
picking a movie and I'm looking through my Android box and I'm like, oh, I'll check on Rotten Tomatoes before I watch it. And if it was at 30%, I wouldn't watch it.
No, not at all.
So, to be honest, if I wasn't watching this here right now with you guys, I probably would never touch it.
But we are today. Emily, any experiences with the last one, and what are your expectations going into this one?
I remember really liking the first one as a kid. I have not seen it in at least 10 years.
Yeah.
At least.
Classic.
So, I don't know. I don't even know who's in this one. Like, is there
Jeff
any...
Goldblum's back.
Jeff Goldblum's back.
A couple other people are back.
He's the-
Bill Pullman is the president.
Yeah,
I don't know if
okay.
he's still the president, but Liam
He's
Hemsworth
back.
is in this.
Oh,
I've heard
Liam
really
Hemsworth.
negative things about him in this movie,
wow.
so I'm excited to see his performance.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Will
guess
Smith is not in this.
I don't remember any previews of this at all.
Will Smith,
I do remember when it came out getting really bad reviews, and that's about it.
Will Smith notoriously chose Suicide Squad 2 over this. He had 2 options, and you go that way. So we'll have to
What,
see.
like Suicide Squad
or
Suicide
this.
Squad 2?
No, Suicide Squad or this.
Oh, you said-
There's a conflict. So we'll see at the end if he made a better decision.
We'll
Because
see,
Suicide
I
Squad
guess.
already is a little iffy. So if this movie,
#fun.
that's my worry. This movie must be so much more worse if he decided to do Suicide Squad instead of this. So
But never mind.
No, but he probably just made that strictly based on script. And I mean, in theory, the script for Suicide Squad wasn't bad.
true.
Eh.
Mr. Musk, any experience with the first Independence Day, and what are your expectations? for
Funny
this?
enough, I haven't seen it.
Oh, really? So you had 2
I
people
know.
that haven't seen it.
For some reason, I feel like I've seen like maybe 30 minutes on TV though. Like it, I feel like it's existed in my life at some point. for this one, the trailer looked really bad, and I was like, I don't want to see this, but here we are, and I'm gonna see it. So, I hope it's good. I like Jeff Goldblum; he's pretty cool.
Do you like aliens?
Yeah, I like aliens.
What about these aliens?
Here's the thing: the alien movies, like I feel like they're not that good, but I still like them. You know,
The first two are great.
Well,
Are you just talking about alien movies like
I'm
the
just
genres?
I'm just talking about like aliens, like just as a series.
Okay.
Just overall.
But wait a second, I'm still confused. Like the xenomorphs, like
You just don't like aliens. Is that what you're saying?
I never said I don't like aliens.
Oh,
like the alien from Alien v
I
Predator.
like alien movies.
Like Alien from Alien v Predator.
Yes.
Okay,
Those
that's.
ones.
I wasn't sure if you just.
I feel like
gamut.
overall they're very like meh for the most part, but I still like them.
There's
you know?
more bad ones
I
than
do
good
like
ones.
them, that's what
Yeah.
you're saying.
But
That was a really confusing
Yeah.
go.
aliens in general, I don't really like the ones with the big green heads and like those kind of
That
ones.
bash their heads against windows.
Those are pretty lame, yeah.
Yeah,
But
those ones, okay.
destroy all humans, alien, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same. I have seen this. I haven't seen it in a long, long time. I'm somebody that lots of people talk about like this with such glee and talk about it as like a classic. I never really loved it. I like it a lot. I liked Will Smith. I like Jeff Goldblum. It's a fun action movie, a sci-fi movie, but I've never really loved it. Like I never held in this place like, oh, I can't wait for Independence Day 2.
You're not going to buy Blu-ray on Walmart.
No, even the first one. I'm like, oh, if it was on TV, I'd watch it, or maybe on Netflix, but like, I have no desire to go back. It's like, I've seen it, I know what this is about, the White House gets blown up, cool, let's move along.
Whoa, spoilers.
And yeah, so that's in the first one.
Yeah,
So
but
you're gonna see clips of that.
yeah, but
maybe.
see, I was blissfully ignorant going, and now I know the White House has been destroyed.
I'm sure they
this
rebuilt it.
This is years later, right? Like.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
for
how
sure.
many
20
years?
years.
Will Smith is dead in this movie, apparently.
Oh,
They
they
ran him off in a
killed him.
really terrible
Really?
way, yeah, so...
Oh, that's something to look
Did
forward
they write
to.
him off with CGI?
What?
Did we get to see a CGI?
I won't spoil it. So, for you guys, we'll be back in just mere seconds. We're gonna go watch this. Any last words before we jump into Independence Day?
Everyone's looking at me, so I gotta say something.
Last words.
This is gonna be the greatest movie on Netflix to fail.
Oh, we're
Really?
doing our predictions? Is that what we're doing?
I don't know.
Oh, I predict this will be a solid one.
I just feel like I need to say something.
Actually,
because
no,
everyone's
I'll
looking
go
at me.
2, because the one, there's a new type of one between the Do-Over and Ridiculous 6, and
Oh,
and
one star means a lot of
Assassins-
different things. It's a huge variance.
Did we
within one
give
star.
the International Assassins movie 1 star? I think,
Yeah.
was it a
Yeah,
1 or
What
2?
was that? Oh,
That
that.
Kevin
was-
James?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, I
one.
don't even remember.
Yeah.
But
In hindsight, I'd give it a 2.
I
Yeah.
definitely would not change
It
it
was
to
fun.
a 2.
It was a fun
I
time.
think you and me maybe give it 2. Either way, we'll see what this is gonna be. We'll be back in a few minutes, seconds, whatever.
Years.
Years, and then we draw. 2 years later, we draw.
20 years later.
You guys all have big beards. Me and Emily got gray hair going. Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Taylor, you wanna? No. Actually, this is an awful.
I'll start.
Yeah.
So I feel like I think the way to describe this movie is that like I didn't think any of it was particularly awful, but none of it was really fun.
I'll disagree there.
No, I'll agree.
Like
I think some of the acting was pretty awful.
Oh,
though.
the acting.
And the dialogue.
I would just say some of it was like bad, but I don't think anything was just like this isn't worse than like a do-over.
It wasn't
No.
doable.
Like I was maybe equally as bored, but it wasn't like awful. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't complete garbage.
That's
you
the
know?
main thing. I was just really bored the whole time.
But I can't. But there's no like moment that I can pick out as like, oh, I really liked that particular scene. It was just like I guess I tolerated it. You know.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit too long as well.
Yeah. There's some
I don't
stuff
know.
they could have taken out.
That's my quick
It
synopsis.
wasn't offensive, at
synopsis.
least, either.
No.
So,
Well,
that's got
to the first one, it was. Emily, you want to give your quick run?
About what?
I don't know. I feel
don't
like.
know.
So if you haven't seen this movie, it's pretty much Independence Day 1. Same thing. Aliens
One
come back
version
this
two?
time. Pretty much, they
Or
come
then
back.
just a
With a
little
lot
fast.
of bad CGI.
Yeah, aliens are CG.
A lot of bad green screen too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of effects.
A lot of characters
A lot
that are
of
like connected
effects.
to the kids of certain people. There were some people that died. Will Smith died off screen, which we knew, but he died in a training accident, so that was alright. Taylor, you want to tell us like why you like this movie so much? I do have some notes, but I honestly don't because it's just like I think Dylan, you're already saying like it's just like, it's just like
Like, I have no intention of ever
It's
watching
just a
this
film.
game.
it's just a.
But
I think it's so bad film.
I mean,
It's
I
just
think
sad.
I think we should get Taylor's opinion
Okay,
because
Taylor.
we did we saw Colin last week and you can check that review out. I guess I don't know when this is coming out. Anyway,
Couple
we
weeks
did
ago.
Colin and Taylor's description of why he liked that movie was actually very insightful and I was like, you know what, you made some good points, man. Like
If
I
you-
didn't see it that way, but that is some good reasons for liking this movie.
If you haven't seen Kong, see Kong over this. Kong was much more enjoyable, in my
Yeah.
opinion. A lot more fun. So, Taylor, why do you love Independence Day Resurgence?
I love Independence Day because
No, Resurgence.
Yeah.
Don't tell me on the first one. I know that.
So I love Resurgence because of the fact that, like, there's movies nowadays that take place future, different timelines, different universes, dimensions, whatever, with aliens, humans, whatever. But this one specifically, I like it because it tackles the scenario of, okay, aliens attack us back in the 90s or whatever, we win.
1996.
What do we do with their technology? What happens? And that's one of the main reasons why I really like this film, is it shows what humanity did with it.
You did not sell me the same way as you did on Kong.
What else?
That's just the That's just the opening.
I feel like that's like a concept, but none of that. That's like not this movie.
Well, and there's another thing.
There's 2 hours of this movie, not 15.
Yeah, here's another thing I asked you. Independence Day, the original is known for like having these really fun, cool characters. I feel like this movie doesn't. Even the old characters that come back are really lame. Golden's just kind of there. Brett Spiner's on a different level in this movie.
Who's that?
Like that's the scientist with the long hair. Bill Pullman's back. He doesn't make a fucking big presidential speech. He just dies for no. He literally dies for no reason because the Queen had its own shield, so he just killed himself for nothing. So, like, what do you feel about the new characters? Because I feel like the new characters are really bland, and Liam Hemsworth is not good in this movie. Will Smith's son is not good in this movie. Like, there's a lot of people that are not good in this movie. No, there's no good. And maybe it's just a script thing, but they're really bad.
All the terrible yelling, like everyone,
Whoa! That was the first in the movie. Whoa!
Really half-hearted yelling.
Yeah.
Like they're like charging their ships into battle, I guess, and they're trying to yell, but it just sounds like
like their parents were like, use your inside voices.
yeah, totally.
Or like I had this in my note when Goldblum's scared of flying and they take off and he's like, oh, and it's like, this doesn't even seem like everyone felt like they were doing bad acting or they were phoning it in, especially like the guy that becomes president, William Fletcher. Like he was just giving lines just like, yeah, that's what we gotta do, and he'd walk on. Like no one seemed to fucking care in this movie, and then I think the young people cared, but they couldn't do it. So, how do you feel with these new characters, Taylor?
You know, I like the majority of them. My particular favorite was Liam Hemsworth.
Oh my god!
Not Liam Hemsworth, his partner, his co-pilot.
Oh, he's bad
the
too!
weird annoying
Yeah,
guy.
The one who wants a date with the lady?
Weird annoying I could relate to.
Do you mean okay, so not Dylan, but his like first partner? Because he has
Yeah.
two.
Yeah,
Okay.
the other dude who was like all in love with that Chinese chick.
But also in love with him at the same time.
Yeah,
Because
there's
he was
a lot of gay. There's like
real
very
love
Fast
act,
and
right?
Furious. There's a lot of gay undertones in this movie at times.
Yeah.
Very
When that scientist died, that was supposed to be a sweater. Like that moment was pretty touching.
Does
To leave
Well, let's not go that
now, Dylan, you said you don't have any good moments. Do you have any moments that you'd say that stand out, or any? What would you put is like your least favorite or like the worst moment in this movie for you? That you walk away, you'll be like, I remember this.
Well, I think the thing I would remember the most is like the final scene, just because the big Mama Jamba alien is cruising around.
So bad.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's like the most memorable scene. I feel like the rest of it was just like, okay, we gotta keep going with the story here, so we go to this place and we hit these buttons, and we go to this place, hit some other buttons, some people are traveling places, and it was just kind of boring. I don't know, like they just went places and like.
And I tell people that didn't watch this movie.
It was just very dry.
The finale, there's like a queen alien they gotta blow up. They blow up the ship. She's still alive. So it's pretty much just like a Godzilla King Kong ending where she's massive and she's running around the town or cities taking stuff out. Emily, any moments that stand out to you of... If you have any good moments, sure, but...
Yeah, not really. I think there's the line that stands out when... well, I don't even know what they were doing because they were just flying in space.
The whole movie's
Liam
kind of a
Hemsworth
mesh.
and Jeff Goldblum, and they got into some trouble, and then
They were falling in style.
Yeah, they were falling, controlled dive, and then he goes, "Did you just pee your pants?" And he's like, "Yep." And he goes, "Me too." Like, what?
And they cut away.
What?
Yeah.
Like, that's just...
Taylor, you're smiling.
It's like they tried to have
chuckled.
comedy, but it didn't hit. Sorry, Taylor, but it didn't hit.
No, not...
I was like, I don't think any of us laughed at any single
Taylor,
joke
well,
that was
Taylor,
made.
Taylor.
But he only laughed once.
You laughed-
and
no,
they
you laughed
made
a
a
few
lot
times.
of jokes.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the joke was that you laughed at, but the one joke you laughed at, you like laughed hard, but none of the other ones you laughed at at
Well,
all.
I would laugh, and then Dylan would look at me and smile, and then I'd laugh even more. So I'm thinking, oh, that's so funny, and maybe Dylan gets it. No, he doesn't, but I'm laughing.
I
No, it's
I
not
just
that
know
we
that you
don't
thought
get
it was
it.
funny, so I wanted to see your reaction.
Maybe don't.
It just wasn't. Nothing.
Well, yeah, because they had like the old guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he had really long gray hair, and he was in a
Brent
coma at the
Spencer's
start of the
really-
movie.
Yeah.
He gets woken up, and then he starts rifling off some crazy stuff. His eyes are always like tweaking out, and he's supposed to be the comedic relief in this movie.
Super annoying.
And yeah, he was just really annoying. I don't think any of
You
his
didn't tell
jokes
me
were
I'm
funny.
not wearing pants.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he walks
that
around the
was
first half of the
classic
movie with just like mesh underwear.
Mhm.
I think like piggybacking that before I forget, this movie's 2 hours. Definitely a theme of Netflix felt. These movies are too long. Like,
Yeah.
and the way I want to shout out is what I think for my worst moment is not so much. I think the finale is the worst part because I thought the Major Queen was really lame. Also, all the aliens are CGI in this movie, unlike the original, so that takes me out of it. But the whole storyline with Jeff Goldblum's dad and the kids on the bus and that. No, you can't. You said like, oh, the reason it was there so Jeff Goldblum could get the bus. They could think of 1,000 ways. Some fucking army guy could pull up with the jeep and say, "Hey, get in, sir." Like, it has no consequence whatsoever. It's just Jeff Goldblum's dad. What happened is he's an old folks home. He sees these aliens. He's trying to get to his son, right?
I don't think he's actually in the old folks' home. I think he's
He's
just
just
doing
selling
a
it.
presentation.
Yeah, right. So he's like selling his book. I don't remember the character. I don't remember a lot of characters' names, so forgive me if you do and you love this. Like, I'm sorry, and he's just like the whole world's in a rut, so they're all like the classic, like trying to get out of town, and he just gets picked up by this like young girl, Joy King, with her brothers and sisters, and they're just traveling along, and nothing like comes from it. It's just there. At one point, they meet these kids in a bus, and like. That took up at least 20 minutes of the
zero
movie.
relevance to
They
having
could
the
have
kids
easily took
there.
that out. I think if this was an hour and a half, it still would have been bad, but not as bad. But it felt just like it dragged. Like, I don't think, like, it's a little spoiler, I don't think this is like a do-over level, but I don't know if there's been a movie for me other than the one-star movies that have dragged this much. Like,
Well,
it just felt the same
It took
stuff.
45 minutes before anything really started to happen. Like, there was
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes of them in space, and there's power surges, and that was...
Chris Pratt or Chris
Well,
Pratt.
I feel like there's
Liam Hemsworth and that guy have a character problem, which I didn't like. Like, you guys kind of said you got
And
it,
there
but
was no relevance to that in the
No.
end either.
No,
Because
they-
they like instantly were best friends,
To-
and he was
to
calling them buddy.
to set it up, they were doing these training exercises to like for positions, and it's like Will Smith's kid and Liam Hemsworth, and something happens where Liam Hemsworth cuts him off and makes him crash. He ejects, so he almost killed him. At the movie, there's like this big tension. They keep hinting.
Picture the pod racing scene from Star Wars.
Yeah, they keep hinting at there's some tension. They end up getting like a scuffle. They punch each other, and then Will Smith's son's mom died, and that kind of is what like puts
Yeah,
them
but-
back together.
She had quite a death scene too.
I was gonna say that's the best part of my favorite movie. Vivica A. Fox.
That's the best part of your favorite movie.
Yeah.
You might want to rephrase that.
The best part of the movie is Vivica A. Fox in the first one. She's a nurse. She's helping someone give birth. She helps that mother get on board a helicopter
again, pointless.
and a baby. No, I think it was
the
not
lady-
pointless.
The birthing lady.
That
it
baby
showed-
goes on to be the next president.
Oh.
He'll probably be in the
Right.
next movie. No, it showed that
Oh.
Vivica A. Fox like a hero, right? So it gave her
Oh.
hero's death. The reason I don't think it's pointless because what happens is she gets on the copter, the building beneath her, they're on a roof, it explodes, and right when you think that she's gonna get saved, no, she literally drops into the middle of the building just falls on her,
The
and she's
best
dead.
part of it is her son. He's supposed to be the head of like the fighter pilots.
He was going there to get
He
her.
was supposed to go. He's like, wait, I just gotta go check on someone, and he's gotta go. He's going to try and save his mom, and he sees that she's just about. So he literally watches his mom fall out of the helicopter man's grasp and die.
Yeah.
But there's like.
No emotion. He's just like, oh, I saw her die, and even
He's like, no, save her, pull her up, and then she just dropped.
even when the former president's daughter was watching,
She could have lived.
when the president was getting choked up by that alien, I felt like she was not really that upset. She was more interested in what the alien had to say, but it's like your dad has like tentacles wrapped around your
Yeah.
throat, and you're just like, and she's a really good actress. I forgot who she was. And I look like she's been in some great stuff, but like
I'm
what?
showing this.
No, that's what I mean. Not in this, but like,
Well, okay, I have a couple things. So,
okay.
lay
it on us.
Well, it kind of reminded me. So that woman dies, and then the other guy that
Will
dies is
Smith's
like
son, mum.
yeah, and then the other person that dies is like the doctor who is with that crazy guy when he comes out of a coma, and those are the only two like.
and the former president.
The former.
Okay, yeah.
president.
So those are like the only like characters that you know that die. Obviously, there's a lot of people who get like killed in a lot of rubble and
Do we
stuff.
count Will Smith?
No.
No.
I don't because I
He died
haven't seen
before the
first
war.
There's a big picture of him though on
Yeah.
the
He just died
president's
in a
door.
training accident.
Test
flight.
Test flight for fusion drives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just there's so many like characters in this movie. I feel like they definitely like could have killed a couple of them off for to make the movie seem more important or
Yeah.
make it like more memorable or something.
Well,
Like I didn't personally connect with any of the characters, but I'm
I
sure
feel like you
like
connected
Taylor,
with
people like
them.
Taylor probably you like a lot of the characters, so I feel like that'd be more like emotionally attached
Well,
to
and
the
like
movie.
that, the big warrior guy that has like the number tattoos.
Yeah, I felt
Oh,
like
I
you guys
forgot about
connected with
him.
him
He
a
was my
little bit.
favorite.
Yeah,
by
so-
far.
and
He
then there
the
was
best
like the
character.
little
Yeah, like I like that. I think that was my favorite character. I'd
Definitely
say.
the best character.
See,
by
and
far.
then
He was
there's
cool.
the little
He has,
twig
like,
guy that goes with
crosses on
him,
his arm.
right? So
Yeah.
they're the pair. Like, kill off the little twig guy and then use you have the heart of a warrior line as he's dying. Like that, like, you're like standing there. He's like, you have the heart of a warrior,
Yeah,
and it
but
cuts away.
the
Like,
little twig guy wasn't significant enough. There was too many
Twig guy.
characters for any of them to have
Sorry,
been
that's-
there.
That's his name is in the credits. It's not our fault.
Yeah, twig guy.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is I think there was actually like a potentially like really cool component where there's like this robotic alien race with those like pearl machine things. I don't really know what they are. I guess they're like an alien race as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
And they like were fighting the aliens back in the day, and they got all kind of wiped out because they know the technology to take out the aliens.
And their molten core got taken. Remember, that's how we
Right.
learned that. Oh, this works.
Yeah.
The aliens are after the molten core in this. So just if you didn't know.
So yeah, I think this movie could have benefited from like dropping some of the characters and kind of having like a more to do with like the aliens. I know Travis, you mentioned that it's supposed to be like the aliens are mysterious and you're not supposed to know what's going on.
That's what I was thinking.
But I think it would have been a lot better if they, gave more time to aliens and actually made them seem like characters rather than just like nameless beasts or
Yeah.
something. And then also, like, I think that whatever those pearl things are, like, I was kind of interested to know more about them.
Well,
And obviously that's what the third one's for, right? But for the sake of this movie, like, it was all about just like the human people, and most of them were just like kind of boring. And I don't know, I think I would have liked the movie a lot more if they went into like the kind of battle and like connection between those three races.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I can say like the reason I went for that because the first one is famous for like having a lot of characters, and it is done well. Like all those characters, and then some are from the first one, and
Yeah.
it is known for like it's a bunch of characters spread over the world. You're seeing their stories as they go along. And that was alright, and that one to me I liked, well obviously I liked it more, but like it felt like it was all separate stories you were seeing, but in this one at the end when all the main characters end up at the same spot, and they're all just like, we did it, it felt like really lame and forced, it didn't feel like they're all in their separate stories, it all still felt like one story, one very bad story, so...
On that note of what Dylan was talking about, in a perfect world, if Independence Day 2 would come out and...
It did.
We just
We
watched
just
it.
watched
Hear me out. If it came out and they, as you said, dropped a lot of the main characters, maybe kept one from the old movie, and then they
Goldblum.
could have killed him off, probably Goldblum, and then they could introduce some new characters. Then not a lot of them, but then more or less focused on the aliens, because like you got to see a little bit of like the aliens walking through their ecosystem. You got to see a bit of that kind of perspective from them, but especially the sphere, because as the sphere was saying, it collected all these refugees from what remains of other alien races, and they were training them and giving them technology and showing them what to do, and that's what would be really, really cool. I feel like, because that was the plan for Independence Day 3, they should have kind of taken that plan from 3 and made it into number 2.
Because I mean I haven't seen the first Independence Day, but it sounds like this, like the second one, is pretty much the same events as the
Very
first
similar,
one.
just smaller.
So like, why not go into that storyline in the second one?
Yeah.
Why not change it up and
They
kinda
wanted
jump more into the
Because
lore
it's
of that
been
world?
so long.
they want to appease people like you and
I guess
Jessica who hadn't
so.
seen the first one, right? They want you to feel
Yeah,
that
but
experience.
I'm not gonna go watch the
Because
first one.
it
after
First one's
that.
actually good,
I
which
was gonna say the
sucks.
first one's actually
It's fun.
good
It's lots of
compared to
fun.
this.
It's very well done in like a cheesy action sort of
Yeah.
way. Like where this is like, it doesn't really feel like it knows it's in on the joke.
I guess it makes sense on why they would do that if they were intending to make a third one.
Mhm.
But I felt like the result of that was me not feeling like too interested in the world
Yeah.
of this place, because the whole movie was following all these people, and I didn't really connect with the people, and since
Mhm.
the world like really had nothing else to offer because they didn't go into anything about the aliens.
Yeah.
Like the aliens have no personality or anything in this movie.
No.
And then the sphere has
It's a jewel.
like 5 or 6 minutes worth of like content in the movie, so it's a very small part of it as well.
So
Yeah.
this came out. The original came out in '96.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't have been technically old enough to watch it and cared about it at the time. And I think by the time I was old enough to watch it, I wouldn't have given two shits about it. So I mean, for like if they're trying to hit the same audience, I don't necessarily know where their audience lies because it didn't seem like a teen movie, but it didn't seem like an adult movie.
But I feel like the introduction of like having those kids on the bus like was to make it more rounded, and they wanted it to appeal to more people.
I feel like they're going
That's probably what they're
for
going for.
pretty much the fans of the first one, and then maybe a few
I was
more
gonna
with the
say,
young
like,
people.
I was 6 when it came out, and I like watched it. I remember that much.
I saw it at
so-
some point.
And I know I watched it in like more than once, so
Yeah.
a few years over. But
I definitely know that
it
it has like a good rep. Like I've
Yeah.
heard good things from the first one over
Yeah.
the years, but Taylor, anything else? What
yeah.
else? Tell us some more about this movie that you liked.
More that I liked. Well,
Because the fans don't know what you like yet. You know,
the fans don't know I like it.
they don't know what you like about it.
Well, as I said, like
Why did you buy this? Why
I
did you
bought
feel
it
like you needed to buy this?
because I wanted to give it my support for that Independence Day 3.
Fair enough.
They make these
Even
kind
though
of
you didn't
movies
know that
because
that
of
was
people like me.
originally planned.
I knew it was planned.
They had said that they'd plan to do 2 and 3, and I don't think 3's. I don't think that's gonna happen for a while.
As I did
don't
with
think
2,
it'll ever
I'm gonna
happen.
keep typing on Google for the next few years. Independence Day 3 is their hope.
I'll take Mars
It'll be too much
Attacks
time
2
in between that.
before-
They have to do the third one has to be a rehash of 1 and
of
2
this
again.
one, yeah. Or they just do a
20
full-on
years.
reboot.
Yeah.
No, 20 years.
No.
With all that writing, is the only thing that we actually learned about all that writing is just that one symbol means enemy or weapon.
The
or
symbol
whatever?
was the sphere, because that's what the aliens were talking about. So when you see that sphere, the aliens were calling it enemy. But really, for humans, as they said, that sphere was not an enemy to them.
So they showed all the other symbols, but that's the only one we actually learned anything about, right?
Well, he talked about how it meant war and intergalactic
Yeah,
war through all
The guy with the
other
machete
races.
like knows how to translate.
Yeah.
You gotta
He's
pick up
done
the
it,
you gotta
but-
pick up the novelization of the movie.
There is.
But
I
yeah,
was
that's
thinking
the
of
only
that.
one we
Oh,
did the
God.
actual
Anything we
definition
learned
of.
about? Okay.
Yeah.
Taylor, keep going.
Continue.
No, it's just the I love, as I said before, seeing the aliens in their environment, seeing like as opposed like as you said, we didn't get to see the aliens really in the first one. They were very mysterious and hidden behind their technology. But in this one, like even though it was a few brief scenes, like seeing them through their ecosystem walking and they had their guns, I love seeing them kind of to scale what they were doing and how they function, because you never got to see them wielding guns or rifles in the first one. You never got to see them being as agile or what they did. They just hid in their suits and in their ships. So it was cool to see them moving around and actually being a lot more on assault. And
Do you think in the third one we got to see their planet?
maybe like
We'll never know.
we'll never know. But for me, when I'm gonna use this example, Alien vs Predator 2. Now it was a bad
Requiem.
movie. Requiem. It was a bad movie.
Wow. I've
and-
only heard you say that and Man of Steel are
A
bad
lot of
movies
a
in my
lot of
whole
people
life.
don't like it. Me, I love it. I own the special edition. I have the special edition. That's what I have. And so
Oh, you got a special edition.
I love that because for a brief glimpse you get to see the Predator's homeworld, and that really flushed out a little bit of their backstory. Now for me, that's huge. And for this, even though it wasn't their homeworld, you got to see again that ecosystem and their inside of their ships and their environment. And I really, really like that when they do that with an alien race in a movie, because these movies always focus on humans and characters and all that sort of stuff. I want to know more about the aliens and why they're doing what they're doing, and even the beginning when it's zooming in through like the beginning credits or whatever, and you see like one planet destroyed. It was already had its core molten absorbed or whatever, and then it sees the harvester on another planet absorbing. Like I love seeing that kind of stuff because it's like, okay, here's a bit more backstory and what's going on.
I just don't know, like, because I think I had the same opinion as you. Like, I wanted to see more about the aliens, and I didn't feel like satisfied with what they gave in that movie. All they had was them walking around.
Yeah, too busy
They were
with
in
too
their
many other
ecosystem,
characters.
I guess, but they were just walking around in like a little swampy kind of area.
Dylan looks like the machete guy trying to decode Taylor's language. He's listening intently.
I just don't know how. Like, I feel like if you were a huge fan, I guess that it's something that they gave you, but I would feel really disappointed if I waited 20 years and that's all I got for
A lot of people were disappointed.
I wasn't waiting 20 years, but I mean,
I think you were talking about when we were watching how you kept searching on Google like for the
I didn't-
past.
No, but
yeah,
he
but I was
was-
only 2 when the movie came out.
Okay, well,
They say.
Whenever
let's
you
say
had
you
your-
watched the first one 5 years ago and loved it. If you're waiting 5 years for this to come out and that's what you get for the aliens, like I would be disappointed in that.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I don't.
They didn't care enough about what the aliens were trying to
No.
do.
And like how are they different from humans then if they're walking around with guns? Like you would want
Yeah.
you would want something unique. I don't know. I
They
don't.
had those tentacles.
Yeah, I still don't understand why they had so many tentacles. If they only needed them to like grab someone to communicate, why did they need like 10 of them?
There's probably more reasons if you get to their home planet.
If you get to their home planet, maybe the peanut butter's on the really high shelf.
Yeah.
There you go.
One little note I had at one point, I love that the main young characters, they land and all these like young kids are after them for autographs. I just thought it was super lame. They're like, oh, these fighter jet pilots. I'm sorry.
Do you
like,
know why,
these
though?
aren't even the people that saved the fucking Earth.
Do you know why? though?
Why, Taylor?
They were part of their elite squad because they were the first squad to go up to the moon or whatever for the
Whatever,
celebration.
That's
that's
the same
lame.
as Taylor Swift's squad.
It could be. Let the fans decide.
I'd
How
rather
do
watch...
the aliens communicate?
Telepathically, because they don't have vocal cords or mouths.
But they were screaming. Remember, they're celebrating. That was loud.
I think that was just like projecting.
Rubbing their
Yeah,
tentacles
their
together.
They're like,
Something
they didn't even
psychic
explain
related.
anything about
They did in the first one how
Yeah.
they communicate.
but
They do
I
really.
haven't watched the first one, so...
Well, that is inherently, you would have to watch the first one to have it explained,
Yeah.
right? Same if you watch
be fair,
Avengers without
usually-
watching all of them.
If you watch, Two Towers, you're like, how do these guys get together?
Yeah, they might all split up. You know?
There's a reason.
Yeah.
There is a fellowship.
Why do they keep talking about this Gandalf guy?
I don't have any notes before we go into right here because I honestly don't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, usually we break down some stuff, but there's the movie is just
I don't remember anything to
destruction.
break down.
It's just like starts off happy, destruction, fight some aliens, destruction, fight some aliens,
There's
and
a
then
lot
just
of
scientists just trying to do
Explosion,
something. Yeah, like
action, car driving.
it's just like
spaceship
rinse,
flying.
repeat the whole movie, in my opinion. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing. Like I said, other than when that building Vivica A. Fox thing happened, nothing surprised me. Everything, like I was surprised the Jewel wasn't bad. I'll say that. But there was 3 times where I said a certain line and then the character would go and say it. Like this just felt so cheesy, generic. Like if it wasn't the sequel to Independence Day, I think this would be on the classic blockbuster like dollar bin of like movie like, oh, Jeff Goldblum, he's still doing this. So
It probably is though,
But
even
there's-
though it is a sequel.
what? I don't know. They still charge a little bit more because I'll guarantee on iTunes
We're
probably
gonna
still
go
like
look in the
$20.
Walmart $5 bin.
Sure. Well, maybe Walmart. Yeah, I meant
Yeah.
more like online and whatnot.
Oh.
But because I'm talking, I'll give it a 2. I can't say I hated it because for people that don't know, if you're new to this, Netflix. We didn't explain at the beginning, so too bad. But we do
Watch
the
an
Netflix
old
score.
episode.
Watch an old episode. Netflix score is you can only give a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5, and it has to be solid. No 0.5s. Netflix does not allow us. That's our goal of this podcast, is to allow us to do the 0.5s. But yeah, I'm giving this a 2. That's a didn't like it. I didn't hate it. I can't say it was on the level of a do-over or ridiculous 6, but it was just very boring, very monotonous, and I would never ever watch the movie again. And it wasn't even a movie that's what I said about Kong. It wasn't even a movie that I would watch again just because it was fun. Like when we saw Kong, it was like I knew it was bad, but I was having a good time laughing and stuff. There wasn't even stuff. There was a few times we laughed. It wasn't the whole, but it was like. It wasn't even so bad it's good. Like we started this podcast where it's just like, yeah, bad with some alright kind of cheesy moments. So yeah, 2 for me. Didn't like it.
It is $19.99 on iTunes.
Called it. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean because it's a sequel. So, Emily, what score are you giving it out of 5?
A solid 2.
A solid
Yeah,
2.
Wow,
I
solid
went into this thinking this is going to be no better than a 2, and I've come out of it thinking that it's absolutely no better than a 2.
Yeah.
I did not think it could be a
It
1
met your
because
expectations.
we have to compare it to other movies we've watched, like Ridiculous 6, Do Over,
Go back and
whatever
listen
else
to
we've
them
rated
all,
1
yeah.
on. But it's just not at the level of awfulness as those movies were.
Yeah.
But it's not like there was really. It's not something I'll ever watch again. It's
No.
just explosion, car driving,
Yeah.
spaceship flying, and that's kind of it. And like none of the characters had anything redeeming about them except the one.
The machete guy?
What did they call him? He was the gangster militia or something like. I don't know.
He was a warlord.
Apparently
the
he's a
warlord,
favorite
that's
around
what it was.
here.
He was the warlord. Yeah, he was the only one that was kind of cool, but they didn't spend enough time with him.
You only
so.
see him do the machete move once.
Yeah.
I want to see him
And
fight John
actually
wanted to
Middleton.
see
They don't
more
even
machete
really
action.
show it. Like he
The
stabs
second
off
time.
screen.
Yeah, totally.
sometimes,
Gotta
too.
keep that PG-13 rating.
Totally.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, just a 2. Nothing more can be said about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to double up on the 2. It's just like I said, like at the very beginning, it wasn't completely awful, but it was just kind of boring. you
Yeah.
know? Like you guys said, I'm not gonna watch it again. Characters are just kind of boring. I thought there was some, potential with it if they got more into like, I guess the culture of the aliens and stuff like that. But I mean, they didn't, which is fine. I guess that's not the purpose of these movies. It's more about the people and battling them off. But
But at least make that fun, Like make
at
the
least,
battles fun.
yeah. I
And they
don't know.
weren't. They're just generic shooting and whatnot.
I think, if this movie, I was about to say if it was shorter, like an hour and a half, maybe I would bump it to 3, but I don't think that would
No.
be the case.
I think it would just be like a higher 2. That's why we need 2.5.
For me, it'd be a solid 2. Right now, it's like a flimsy 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no intention of ever watching this movie again.
Yeah.
I did not have that great of a time watching it.
Jessica, maybe
it wasn't even like bad good. You know, it was just like boring.
maybe we'll let Jessica go first so we can end it on a high note with Taylor's rating. And, you know, for the fans of Independence Day Resurgence, you know, you can go out on a high.
So I have not seen the first one, and after watching this, I will not watch the first one. I had no interest. Kind of the two parts that I thought were the most terrible was from the first minute to 60 minutes, where it was really slow and nothing happened, and then the other terrible part was from 60 minutes to 120 minutes, where it was just repeat explosions and nothing happened.
Yeah.
I give it a 2. I can't go down to a 1 because
One is a special type of hell
Yeah.
that you gotta save.
but it was.
You're probably thinking, like, by our descriptions, like, why isn't it a 1? Like, we didn't say anything really positive. That's why you gotta go back and watch the other Netflix fails.
Yeah, to
Because
see
then
why.
you'll know why.
Yeah.
You know what we've been through to get here.
See, now if there's a 1.5, I could consider doing this a 1.5. You know, that's why you need the 1.5s. Taylor, what are you giving this out of 5?
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Wow.
So that's really liked it for people that don't know. It's liked it,
8
really
out of
liked
10.
it, not loved it.
So, my reasoning is because this present day and age, I'm a huge sucker for all out
general.
war, alien combat. And yes, I would have loved, that's probably why I would take that 1 off, because I wanted to see more about the alien backstory.
Okay.
One day I'll convince you to drop it down to a 2. I'll keep getting there.
I at least have 3. I don't know if you'll run to a 2, because
No,
that's
probably.
didn't like it, right? 3 is at least just a like it,
Yeah.
you know, so.
But yeah, no, so I'll give it a 4 for that. Like, there's alien movies nowadays that are, they're like Life, for example. Like, there's not really a big alien, but it's like hang on, hear me out. It's like a thriller, but it has alien presence in it, but it's not an all-out war.
Do you mean the movie Life?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're talking
we're talking about like
about
our life in general, which still doesn't make sense because you haven't seen the movie Life, so you don't exactly know.
I know, but from what I've seen in the movie, hear me out. It doesn't have like huge alien soldiers or that kind of combative kind of
It's
presence.
very first alien.
It's very first alienish, yeah. And that's why I like this, because I don't see too many movies nowadays getting made where it's massive invasion on Earth, tons of aliens and that sort of thing.
Okay, aliens, I guess. Suicide Squad did this. It was just poo monsters.
I don't want poo monsters.
The Avengers had aliens.
Battle Los Angeles.
No, that's 100%.
No, I'm not-
Battle LA.
I agree with you on that, but I mean that was superheroes and everything. I want just regular day, just
You want
people.
Jeff Goldblum.
With Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I want Jeff Goldblum and
Close
I want
Encounters of the
aliens.
Third Kind.
Well, that's from the 80s, oh, come
Yeah.
on.
It's
He's-
amazing,
He
though.
said recently. He said
Recently, yeah.
I can't think of that many, I'll give you that.
Battle Los
I can't.
Angeles is
Battle
one.
LA.
See, that's one of my favorite, Battle Los Angeles. I love Battle Los
I
Angeles.
like that movie better than this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Go watch
I'll
Battle Los
give you that. I
Angeles.
do too.
You
Aaron
want
Eckhart
that
kills Two-Face is great in that movie.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I
Watch
liked it much
Battle
more than
LA.
this movie.
Yeah.
So-
Michelle Rodriguez.
I have a question for you then. Do you think that Will Smith should have done this over Suicide Squad then?
Oh,
Good
good
question.
question.
After
You
seeing
know-
this, I'd say he made the right choice.
If since he wasn't in this, if there were 0.5s, I would have put it to a 3.5 because I would have.
You can't.
I know, but if that did
I was about
exist,
to-
since he wasn't in this, I would have put it down to 3.5 because I loved his character in
So
the
then,
first
if he
one.
wasn't in it right now, would you have given it a 5 out of 5 then?
That would have greatly increased the chances of going.
That would have greatly achieved.
But with all the lineage, you know he'd be bringing Jaden Smith with him.
I was gonna say, and can Will Smith still do what he did in the original Independence Day? I know you two haven't seen it, but he was young then, and he was
prime
full of-
Will Smith.
He was prime Will Smith. And
strapping
he was
young
like
lad.
over the top, and like what
I
we've
think he
seen of
could.
him recently. We
He's
haven't
trying to
really
do Bad
seen
Boys
that.
3.
I
right?
like-
So I think he.
so.
I like
We'll have to
Deadshot
see
and
when
Suicide
we-
Squad. I thought he was pretty good in that movie.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he did
He was
I
the
think
best
he
part
made
of
a
the
good
movie.
choice.
Yeah.
Because his
I'd
role in
rather
this movie
watch
was not that
Suicide
great.
Again. I'd watch
Oh
Suicide
yeah, just
again
for
over watching
him
this
and
again.
Margot Robbie.
For
That's a
his-
fair point. I agree with that.
Then again,
I'd
there's-
watch that again.
Then
Yeah.
again, there's nothing as bad as Independence Day as there is in Suicide Squad. Hunka hunka.
To answer your question,
I
though,
think the peeing in the pants comment
I
is
would-
pretty fucking bad.
No.
Well, Joker in that movie is pretty much an alien. I mean,
Yeah. If I had to watch all of that screen time and then just that joke on repeat, I'd watch that again. That didn't make my skin crawl at least. Hunka hunka. Go get your GeekVerse t-shirt.
I would probably say Will Smith did make the better choice going to Suicide Squad, but I would have loved to see him more in Independence.
And there's
Day,
rumors
too.
he's getting a Deadshot movie, so you know he's spinning off doing his
I'm
own
sold.
things.
no Independence Day spin-offs.
Okay, would he get paid for his picture being in this film?
Mm,
I'm wondering though.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
No.
I doubt it.
Just because I imagine there's some sort of binding contract to the first one where it's like, oh, if we ever made a sequel,
We got
Yeah,
regular
we
on.
could
We
use
use
your
your
likeness.
likeness.
Yeah, like for DVD. So I
and that's the
bet.
thing. It wasn't a picture of him. It was like a CGI rendered painting.
It was pretty
Yeah.
clearly CGI.
And it's all, you don't actually see his on-screen death. It's literally like he died in so it's no.
But
if-
there were two.
I was kind of
photos,
wondering
though.
that.
There's
He's still
photos,
gonna
but I
make
think
the
if he
money.
was physically there, he'd get paid. But he wasn't physically there, unless he came in to get painted. And
Well, they can,
kudos to you.
We need to buy that.
they can CGI anyone they want now.
Oh, yeah?
Basically, without paying.
Rogue
them.
One, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Taylor's actually CGI. He's not a real.
I'm not
person.
even here.
Yeah.
We did a better job than Independence Day,
Well,
though.
obviously.
Very good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Netflix fail. One last great we got to say, because we were talking about this. The other thing we want to change in Netflix, get rid of the previews on Netflix. They're very loud. They're very obnoxious. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you pause on a movie, it'll play a preview, but it's not like the real trailer. It's just scenes from the movie with obnoxious, like, YouTube free music. I'll show you next time we
Really?
watch it. Yeah,
It's
watch.
horrible.
And I
Wait,
was...
if you like hover over
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So
I'll
if
show
you
you.
want to sit and read the description of a movie because you don't know what movie it is,
3 seconds?
you don't even get long enough to finish the
This does
time.
not happen on my Netflix.
Oh, it
that's
happens
happened
on
on
mine.
mine.
I think
Yeah.
maybe you need to update yours, but don't.
What are you guys on console or something?
Yeah, it's PS4, yeah.
Huh.
Maybe that's it. But yeah, I'll show you.
Maybe
And
that's
it's
But I
really
think it does it on-
obnoxious.
I think it does it on
It
the
does it on the
Xbox, but I
Xbox
know
one,
it
too.
has
It doesn't do
on
it on.
Xbox.
I've never had it.
Yeah, maybe computers are safe, but yeah, it's super loud.
Master Race.
And at least make this option, make it like
You can turn it
on and
on.
off. Yeah, because if people like that, then great. But that's
I
what we want
find
to
it-
change.
It's just the music that bothers me. If you want
Yeah.
to show me scenes from the movie, go ahead and show me scenes from the movie. But
Well,
do
the
not
music is
show
super
me.
I guess
generic.
the
Not
positive
playing
there is like,
generic
you know, the
music.
Nintendo Switch doesn't have Netflix. You don't have that problem.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
So the-
you know what? If I was gonna rate that preview, I'd give it a 1 star
A preview?
of the previews.
Oh yeah,
Because
that's what I
can't
hate it.
Can't even
Yeah.
give it a 0.
Oh,
No.
yeah,
Netflix
no.
needs to change
I
their
hate
rating
it.
system.
So we want a rating system change, and we want no more previews or at least an option. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find all our links. A photo's gonna come up after this. Show you all links. We're gonna go record another Netflix and fail. Next month is Sandy Wexler with Adam Sandler. Please tune in. Promise you won't be boring.
Go
Never
kick some
is.
alien ass.
Exactly.
Did you just pee your pants?